You woke up 3 times last night to urinate. The week before, it was 4 times. And you probably told yourself the same thing millions of men over 60 tell themselves every day. It's just part of getting older. But what if I told you that what's destroying your prostate right now isn't age? It's what you ate yesterday, what you drank at lunch, what's sitting in your medicine cabinet at this very moment. There are 5 foods that scientific research directly links to chronic prostate inflammation, uncontrolled cell growth, and aggressive prostate cancer. And the 5th, the most surprising of all, isn't in your kitchen. It's in your medicine cabinet. And you probably took it this morning thinking you were taking care of your health. Over the next 15 minutes, I'm going to reveal exactly what these 5 foods are, why they create a toxic metabolic environment for your prostate, and what to do instead before the damage becomes irreversible. My name is Dr. Jane. I'm a physician specializing in men's urological health with 18 years of clinical practice focused on men over 60. Before we get into the list, you need to understand one thing. Individual foods don't directly cause prostate cancer. What matters is the metabolic environment these foods create over time. Specifically, these foods lead to what we call metabolic syndrome: high blood pressure, insulin resistance, elevated blood sugar, abnormal cholesterol, and obesity. And multiple studies show that men with metabolic syndrome have a 50 to 70% higher likelihood of being diagnosed with high-grade prostate cancer and enlarged prostate. These foods affect your prostate in 3 main ways: insulin resistance, which works like a signal for uncontrolled cell growth; high blood pressure, which increases prostate size and worsens urinary symptoms; and chronic inflammation, which promotes both prostate growth and cancer progression. Let's get to the 5. 2. From least to most destructive. Food number 5, fried foods and repeatedly heated cooking oils. A 2015 meta-analysis found that men who consumed more fried foods had a 35% higher rate of prostate cancer compared to those who ate less. These foods are dense in saturated and trans fats, which fuel insulin resistance, inflammation, and weight gain. But here's the detail most people ignore. There's a massive difference between oil heated once at home and oil reused multiple times at restaurants. When oil is heated repeatedly, the chemistry changes. It creates toxic compounds including free radicals, free fatty acids, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, carcinogenic compounds. Restaurants, street vendors, fast food chains use these frying oils 3 to 6 times before discarding them. So every time you order chicken wings or French fries, they've been through multiple heating cycles. Michael, 67, a mechanic from Houston, Texas, ate fast food 5 times a week. PSA at 4.6 ml, prostate at 56 grams. When he completely cut restaurant fried foods, within 3 months his PSA dropped to 3.2 ml. The solution? Limit fried foods, especially from restaurants where you can't control oil quality. At home, don't reuse frying oil multiple times. Food number 4, alcohol. Alcohol isn't just a concern for prostate cancer, it worsens symptoms of enlarged prostate. Alcohol is a diuretic, which means you produce more urine than you take in. When you have mild prostate symptoms, alcohol amplifies them dramatically, and by age 60, half of men already have some degree of prostate enlargement. So when you drink alcohol, you urinate more frequently, more urgently, you wake up more times at night. There's also a dose-response relationship between how much you drink and prostate cancer risk. The more you drink, the higher the risk, especially above 2 drinks per day. Robert, 63, an accountant from Phoenix, Arizona, drank 3 beers every night, waking up 5 times a night, weak flow. When he reduced to 1 beer only on weekends, within 6 weeks he dropped to once a night. The solution? If you're not attached to alcohol, stop completely. Otherwise, minimize as much as possible. especially after 4 p.m. Food number 3, processed meats, bacon, sausage, ham, deli meats, salami. These have some of the strongest evidence linking them to prostate cancer. Multiple studies show a dose-response relationship. The more you eat, the higher your risk. Why? When food companies process meats, they add nitrates and nitrites. These chemicals keep the meat looking pink and fresh and prevent bacterial growth. But once they enter your body and are exposed to high heat, they damage DNA and become carcinogenic. They also have extremely high amounts of sodium, which raises blood pressure, and they cause chronic inflammation. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed 2,900 men for 7 years. Those who consumed processed meats 5 or more times per week had a 47% higher risk of moderate to severe urinary symptoms. James, 65, a truck driver from Nashville, Tennessee, ate a ham sandwich every day at lunch. PSA at 5.1 ml, waking up 6 times a night. When he switched to fresh grilled chicken, within 2 months his PSA dropped to 3.4 ml. The solution: avoid processed meats. When you eat red meat, cook it gently, roasted, braised. Avoid charring on the grill. Marinades before grilling can reduce formation of carcinogenic compounds. Before I reveal the 2 most destructive foods, do something for me. If you recognize at least one of these 3 foods in your routine, leave a like right now, and in the comments tell me, which of these 3 do you consume most frequently? Now, let me be honest with you the same way I am with every patient. These 3 foods we've covered, fried foods, alcohol, processed meats, create inflammation, insulin resistance, and cellular damage. But here's what I've learned in 18 years. Cutting out toxic foods is only half the battle. The prostate needs active repair support, and after decades of exposure to these toxins, most men need more than just clean eating to reverse the damage. Your prostate is begging for specific compounds that block DHT conversion, calm chronic inflammation, and protect cells from oxidative stress. And you simply cannot get therapeutic doses through food, even eating perfectly. I've left a link in the description to a natural formula I recommend to patients who are serious about prostate recovery. It brings together over 20 ingredients that target exactly the pathways we've discussed. Saw palmetto at the dose that actually blocks 5-alpha reductase, pygeum that shuts down the inflammatory cascade, antioxidants like green tea extract that protect prostate cells from the sugar damage we're about to talk about. No prescription required. And every order comes with a full 180-day money-back guarantee. 6 months. If you don't feel a difference, stronger flow, fewer nighttime trips, less urgency, you get every penny back. If you've been suffering with this for 2 years, 5 years, a decade, and you're finally ready to do something real about it, that link is in the description. Takes 1 minute, and the only thing you risk is another 6 months of broken sleep and constant bathroom trips. Now let's get to the final 2 foods, and I promise, the last one will change how you see health forever. Food number 2, sugar-sweetened beverages. Sodas, energy drinks, sweet teas, industrial fruit juices. They all have tons of added sugar, and all this sugar triggers insulin resistance, where your cells stop responding normally to insulin. This forces your pancreas to produce more and more insulin to control blood sugar. Result: chronically high insulin levels, and when you have hyperinsulinemia, too much insulin in your blood, it's associated with aggressive prostate cancer. The data suggests that men, particularly under 65, who ate the most hyperinsulinemic diets, high in refined carbohydrates, had an 18% higher risk of high-grade prostate cancer and a 22% higher risk of fatal prostate cancer. Insulin is fundamentally a growth hormone. It makes cells multiply and prevents cells from dying, leading to tumor growth over time. And liquid sugar is particularly problematic because it hits your bloodstream so quickly. The insulin response is fast, and the volume tends to be higher than people realize. A 2020 study in prostate cancer and prostatic diseases analyzed nearly 3,000 men. Those with insulin spikes above 90 UU/ml after meals had a 61% higher risk of moderate to severe urinary symptoms. Harold, 62, a teacher from Boston, Massachusetts, drank 2 sodas a day. PSA at 4.8 ng/ml, waking up 5 times a night. When he switched to water with lemon, within 6 weeks, his PSA dropped to 3.1 ng/ml. The solution, if there's one change with the fastest return, it's cutting liquid sugar. Replace sodas, juices, and energy drinks with water, sparkling water with lemon, or unsweetened tea. Food number 1, high-dose calcium supplements. This one surprises most people. Many men take calcium supplements for bone health, especially as they age. But research says there might be a link between how much calcium you take and prostate cancer. In 2025, a meta-analysis found that high calcium intake is associated with increased prostate cancer risk. For every 300 mg per day you increase, you get a 2% increased risk. And if you increase dietary calcium by 300 mg per day, you get a 6% increased risk. And the association shows a stronger link with advanced and fatal prostate cancer. In the health professionals follow-up study, men with calcium intake above 2 grams per day had nearly 2.5 times increased risk of fatal prostate cancer compared to men eating 500 to 749 mg per day. And both dietary calcium and supplementary calcium independently increased risk. The theory is that it might be because of vitamin D. When you have really high calcium intake, it suppresses vitamin D activation, and vitamin D protects cells from proliferating, especially in prostate tissue. And here's the issue. So many people take supplements with multiple ingredients. When you look at the back of those supplements, they might not even point out that there's calcium in there, but it's listed. When you add up all the supplements you're taking, you might be taking too much calcium. Edward, 66, an engineer from Seattle, Washington, took 3 different supplements daily: multivitamin, bone supplement, and calcium-based antacid. Total, 2,400 mg of calcium per day. PSA at 5.3 ng/ml. Prostate at 62 grams. When he cut down to only 800 mg through diet, within 4 months his PSA dropped to 3.2 ng/ml. The solution? Review all your supplements. Add up the total calcium. Keep it below 1,000 to 1,200 mg per day, including diet. If you take supplements, choose those without added calcium or in low doses. You just received information that most urologists will never mention in 15-minute appointments. 5 foods, scientifically validated, clinically tested. The question now isn't whether it works. Science has already answered that. The question is, will you keep eating these 5 poisons, or will you give your prostate a chance to recover? Because here's the hard truth. Food choices create the metabolic environment that determines whether your prostate inflames, grows, or develops cancer. And these 5 foods create the worst possible environment. Cutting these 5 foods is your first line of defense. And if you want to add active nutritional support, that formula with over 20 ingredients I mentioned, the link is in the description. Saw palmetto, pyjum, green tea extract, full 180-day guarantee, no prescription. Now share this video with another man over 60 who needs this. Subscribe to the channel and leave in the comments, which of these 5 foods do you consume most frequently? The responsibility is now yours.